Enuma Elish and the Priestly Creation Source by James Russo. The prevailing cultural and religious legacy of the Babylonians, Assyrians, Egyptians, and other neighbouring ancient civilizations has influenced the priestly creation source. Throughout history, creation myths have influenced ancient societies through key aspects of culture and values. The priestly creation source was heavily influenced by the Babylonians and their creation myth Enuma Elish. The Israelite authors of the 7th century BC utilized the prevailing Babylonian cultural and religious legacy to create the peace source to combat the great crisis posed by the Babylonians during the Exilic period. Enuma Elish is the Babylonian creation myth believed to be composed by a poet before the 12th century BC. The story was first discovered in 1849 by Austin Henry Layard in the ruined library of Ashurbanipal in Nineveh on 7 tablets and is written in Akkadian. The purpose of Enuma Elish was not primarily to explain the period's cosmology, but instead a proficient method to praise Marduk as king of all the gods, further stipulating a polytheistic belief system. According to Joshua Mark, Marduk was the patron god of Babylon. This is directly displayed to the reader in the passage. In the Palace of Fates, then the Temples of Destinies, the most ingenious divine warrior was created, the ablest and the wisest of the divine warriors. Then in the Sacred Heart of Abzu, Marduk was created. This extract from the story directly supports the idea set forth by Alexander Heidel that the story was created for the glorification of Marduk, in turn glorifying the Babylonians during this time period and highlighting them as superior and unparalleled to other Near East civilizations. Enuma Elish was used to praise the greatness of the Babylonians and by an extent the Babylonian king. Arthur Cortell stresses that the Babylonians were one of the first world powers. The story of Enuma Elish shares both a religious and a political meaning to provoke Marduk as master and king of all, while swaying the reader to act in favour of the Babylonian monarchy. The story functioned as a method of not only glorifying Marduk and the city, but providing divine reasoning for the city's greatness and wealth. Enuma Elish changed prevailing worldviews to portray the Babylonians as a superior, unparalleled civilization. According to Julius Wellhausen, the peace source was composed by priests in the line of Aaron, presumably no later than the post-exilic period. The authors used prevailing Babylonian literature to assist in shaping their religious narratives to highlight their sacred relationship with a monotheistic god. Key archaeological evidence suggests that the Israelites were subjected to harsh experiences as captives by the Babylonians after their conquest of Jerusalem in 587 BC. Biblical scholar Joel Su Tae-young argues the author seems to have contextualized his creation story to react to and challenge such a crisis. Leading scholars believe that the purpose of the priestly creation source was to challenge both the crisis imposed by the Babylonian exile and the polytheistic religions of the Near East. This is evidently displayed through the first 4 days of the story, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Through this extract of Genesis 1, it is evident that the author intends to confront the ancient Near East's view on gods. William Laysdell refers to the idea that the sun, moon, and stars that the Babylonians perceive as gods were created as simple luminous bodies through God's command. This leads to the demythologizing of the Babylonian gods to simple natural objects, whilst portraying the Israelites' God to rule over all things. Marduk's power is further challenged due to the polytheistic nature of the Babylonian religion. It leads to all gods sharing in the power, whereas the Israelites' monotheistic religion leads to their god not having to share power with any other god. Instead, he is all the power, portraying the Israelite God to be more powerful. The peace source expresses a religious, national, and political meaning to promote God as the king and creator, whilst persuading the reader to unite under one centralized belief about God, challenging the political ideals forced upon the Israelites by the Babylonians. In turn, the function of the peace source glorifies not only God, but also the Israelite people, portraying them as superior. By doing this, the author of the peace source was able to challenge the crisis posed by the Babylonians and change prevailing worldviews to provide a way for the Israelites to unite together under one centralized belief about God.